On this edition of inCycle, we're with Fernando Gaviria's family as they witness a great opening few days of the Giro for the young Colombian.
Yo sí me siento orgulloso y digamos, me siento que con un descanso, el sentir que mis hijos surgieron, están logrando lo difícil que es en el deporte, llegar a ser grandes.
All the highs and lows from a week that ignited the Giro d'Italia.
There's crashes that happen in racing, that's a given, and that happens, but that crash shouldn't have happened in that way.
But first, we're in California with the Women's World Tour.
When I first started racing, I was living in Middlebury, Vermont. When I graduated from Middlebury and I said I want to become a professional cyclist, I knew I had to get somewhere where I could train outside all year round. And I said, I'll just go to California. Tour of California definitely feels like a home race. I get to drive up here, and it's the one race of the year, and it's a World Tour race, so it's the highest level of racing, and I get to do it in my home state. And yeah, here in Lake Tahoe, this is where I got engaged to my husband, so yeah, a little bit of sentimentality here. Winning here was a lot of fun. That was my first World Tour win. Having my first World Tour win in the United States was, yeah, a great feeling.
I'm born and raised in Ventura, California, which is about 8 hours south of here. I'm from beaches and palm trees and sunshine, and here I'm 8 hours away, and it snowed 2 days ago. I'm so far from home, and yet it's the same. It is home, and it's nothing like it. I really like the first stage of the race, the one that goes around the lake, because it's pretty diverse, but it's fast and rolling. There's some climbing, but it's always really aggressive.
I was born in Solvang, California, and grew up in Redding, California, and I currently live in Petaluma, California, so you can say I've been a Californian my whole life. I think Americans, when they come to the Amgen Tour of California, are very motivated to perform, of course, and they're able to target this event.
California is definitely one of my homes, and I'm so proud to be here, and it's amazing to have a World Tour event here and showcase the top level of women's racing here in California. And to wear the yellow jersey in front of my home crowd and my friends and my husband, and everybody's here, so I don't get that opportunity too often.
The second day is maybe not my forte. It's really hard. I pre-rode it the other day and I couldn't believe it. I mean, it's incredible that we have a stage like that, and it's really going to shake up the general classification.
Stage 2 I'm really excited about because I've done a stage race out there before, and it's just amazing. The hills are actually really hard, though.
I think Californians are a little extra motivated here. Also, there's a really, really strong race scene in Northern California, which is where I learned how to race. And yeah, a lot of people here in the field have come out of that amateur racing, and it's a great place to race.
The Tour of California means a lot to me. I think it's really special, especially for an American, to have kind of a hometown race, since the standard of the sport is in Europe. And you know, the Euros, I always tell them they're so lucky. You know, they can drive to a race or fly 2 hours to a whole other country. And here, you know, we fly 5 hours to the other side of the same country. To do well in this race means a lot to me also. It's kind of the mark of the end of my spring, so I want to finish it well. And then, yeah, to be a hometown race and have people cheering my name in English, pretty stoked for me, will be really fun.
It's going to be a good show for everyone. But the third stage I'm looking forward to too as well, because it's flat, but I think it's going to be pretty hectic with crosswinds from what I've heard. So that'll be more my style when it comes to European racing, with the crosswinds and making it exciting.
Clearly, Californians know how to show up, especially on home turf, so bring it. Bring more.
Stage 4 is very challenging, technical, and a little terrifying at times, but with Kirsten Wild on my team, who won that stage last year, I'm really looking forward to helping our team get a victory.
I usually have some people out here cheering for me, which doesn't really happen that often in Europe. So I do feel pride. I almost feel like I'm showing off this incredible state that I'm living. Although I'm not doing any of the showing off, but I'm just happy that everyone has made the travel over here to see and to race and experience this place.
I've won the Sacramento Criterium stage, I think the first year that they held it when I was 18. So have experience with that, and I guess that does give me a little bit of an upper hand. I think it's not your typical American criterium. It's pretty long finish than usual, so I think you can definitely see some Euros up there because it'll require a lot of strength and power to get to the line. But you will see some scrappy Americans up there trying to, rub some elbows to get to the line first.
Of course, the main goal was to get this jersey to win this race, and it would have been so nice if Megan could get it because it's her. She comes from here, and this is a really important race for her. And she did a great job. It's not nice if you have the jersey and you won't have it anymore, and she totally gave it all to defend the jersey. So that's a big compliment for her, and I wouldn't have asked more for that, and for the whole team, they were amazing.
Tackling your first Grand Tour is a daunting prospect, even more so when you're only 22 and expected to demonstrate why you're considered the next great sprinting star. But at least two aspects of Fernando Gaviria have helped the young Colombian rise to this challenge. The first, the immense speed in his legs. The second, an impressive humility.
Tenía una intención de una etapa, solo que sabía que mi primer Grand Tour era muy difícil. ¿Cuántos han corrido varios Grand Tour y no han sido capaces con una victoria? Entonces, tenía yo en mi mente eso, pero no lo podía decir a nadie porque muchas veces es como cuando le pides un sueño a una estrella fugaz, que no se lo puedes contar a todo el mundo porque puede que no se te haga realidad. Es una victoria de los dos, de mi madre y mi padre. Ellos fueron los que me criaron, ellos fueron los que me entrenaron al inicio, fueron los que me acompañaron cada día.
Family is a recurring theme in Gaviria's story. With that in mind, it seemed only appropriate that the first people he could celebrate becoming a Grand Tour stage winner with were those who had first set him on his path.
Yo sí me siento orgulloso y, digamos, me siento que con un descanso, el sentir que mis hijos surgieron, están logrando lo difícil que es en el deporte, llegar a ser grandes.
Para mí mi padre es el mejor fomentador de ciclismo. Me enseñó que debíamos dar siempre lo mejor de nosotros, pero nunca me entrenó tanto como para que yo un día me levantara cansado y no quisiera ver mi bicicleta, sino que antes cada día quería dar un poco más de tiempo en la bicicleta. Tiempo hizo que le cogiera más amor a la bicicleta que cualquier otra cosa. En Colombia suben demasiado, entonces es casi imposible ganarles. Y a mí me encanta ganar, prefiero ganar en un sprint a quedar segundo en la montaña. Entonces, buscando la manera de ganar en Colombia, me encontré con la pista y la pista me llevó a ser más rápido en la carretera, entonces creo que ahí fue donde empecé a tomar el camino de sprinter.
And Fernando wasn't the only Gaviria child inspired to find their life in cycling. His older sister Juliana, an Olympian on the track, has been vitally important to his development, and that's even before either of them had found a bike.
Siempre hemos llevado como una hermandad pero competitiva, pues yo empecé en patinaje, él al tiempito empezó en patinaje y siempre que entrenábamos juntos era ver quién llegaba primero. Luego a los 17 años hubo un cambio drástico de 4 ruedas a 2 ruedas, me pasé a la bici y desde entonces estoy en la bici. Mi padre montó un tiempo bicicleta en su juventud y yo creo que eso nos ayudó a nosotros a impulsarnos más
por el amor a las dos ruedas.
Mi profesión de profesor de educación física me hizo entender cómo se debe llevar un niño, un joven, a que triunfe en el deporte. A ellos les dije yo, ustedes verán qué quieren tomar, qué profesión quieren tomar. Sí, pero si esa profesión, traten de ser los mejores del mundo.
With 2 stage wins and a day spent in the pink jersey already in this Giro d'Italia, Gaviria's future stardom looks inevitable. Even with all the attention that's likely to come his way, not least in his native Colombia, for those who know him best, it's hard to imagine his outlook changing.
Fernando es una persona que es muy comprometida con su familia, con sus amigos. No es de muchos amigos, la verdad. Es una persona más bien reservada, callada, pero que si uno lo necesita en cualquier momento, a cualquier hora, está ahí para uno.
Que ver a Fernando ganando en un Giro Italia y poniéndose la camisa rosa fue algo de locos. Es indescriptible lo que sentimos, lo que vivimos. Ver a mis padres ahí abrazándolo y verlo a él consiguiendo su sueño lo hacía aún más bonito y más maravilloso.
Over the course of 6 stages, the 100th edition of the Giro d'Italia would burst into life. Its second week would end in controversy, but begin with a homecoming for Vincenzo Nibali. As the peloton ripped into Messina, all eyes were on the shark, but his teammate, Luca Pibanic, clearly hadn't read the script or the roadbook.
He thinks he's won. Oh my goodness. He doesn't know what a bell is. Ride on, my friend. They're all going to get you.
The correct celebration would come 1 lap later for Quick-Step's Fernando Gaviria. 2 stage wins in the bag and the pink jersey now hanging on the shoulders of a confident Bob Jungels. The team had reason to be cheerful.
Ma siamo arrivati a questo giro con qualche obiettivo e l'obiettivo principale era con Fernando Gaviria, il secondo obiettivo è con Bob di provare a fare un'ottima classifica come abbiamo fatto l'anno scorso è arrivato sesto, abbiamo vinto la maglia bianca, sappiamo che quest'anno è un giro diverso, ci sono più pretendenti, l'ultima settimana è molto più dura, però il nostro obiettivo di inizio giro l'abbiamo raggiunto.
With so many teams focused on GC or sprint stage victories, a breakaway had yet to stamp their mark on the Corsa Rosa. That would all change on stage 6's ramp into Terme LUIGIANE. While Trek Segafredo looked to have done everything to hand Jasper Stuyven a stage win, it would be a man from BMC to take the day.
Here goes Dillier. Dillier goes for it. Stuyven can't catch him. It's going to be side by side between these two. Wow! Stuyven smacks the bars. He had a man who helped him all day, but Dillier takes it for BMC. What a result for them.
Sylvain Dillier, the loyal domestique, could savour his success while his team leader TJ Van Garderen finished safely with his rivals as the GC deadlock remained unbroken.
There is going to be days where there is guys, they're going to have an opportunity to do their own race. We know that, the team knows that, and our leader, TJ, knows that. So it's a way of giving and taking, So we give the opportunity, and I'm pretty sure these guys are going to give back a lot more.
The next day, the sprinters' teams could regain control, but not before some Hollywood glamour had graced the start of Stage 7 in Castrovillari. As Patrick Dempsey decided against contesting the highly technical finish into Alberobello, the young speedsters who did put on a show.
Somebody is here, he's going to try and go for this one. Where is Ewan? And here he comes. Ewan hits the front, it's not going to be Gaviria today. It's all about Ewan, he needed this. He needed it so bad, and Benetton's with Gaze as well. Oh, there is Gaviria, and indeed inCycle, but is the little guy going to become the big fella? Yes! fast here.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. We got caught a little bit too far back with about 3Ks to go, and then we just waited for each other and we didn't panic, and the boys did a perfect job. You know, after the first few disappointments of the tour, I don't think a victory's ever felt so good before.
With the next potential sprint stage nearly a week away, it was time for some GC questions to be answered. And for one team with two leaders, the question of who was top priority, Mikel Landa or Geraint Thomas?
We've got two leaders, you know, so they're getting along well. That's the most important thing. If they're getting on well together and on the same page, then it's an advantage. If they're not, it's a big disadvantage. So we're in a good spot at the moment.
It was a question that carried over into Stage 8's road up to Peschici, and it would be Landa who would at least try and answer it, but to little success. At the head of the race, though, was a breakaway, including riders usually expected to serve race favourites Nibali and Nairo Quintana. Off the leash and in the hunt of a stage win, there was to be no slipping up for Movistar's Gorka Izagirre, at least.
Told you it could happen, and Conti hits the deck.
Izagirre held on to win, the 29-year-old picking up his first individual Grand Tour stage win in the process. Still, there could be no separating the top favourites at the line, but that was little surprise. Since the day the Giro route was announced, one name had stood out as a likely defining point of the race. Blockhaus.
The climb itself is way more difficult. It's the last 10K is about 10%, so it's steeper. So it will be more for the real climbers, I think, in the final really already a man-to-man fight.
No, I think it's not time to wait. If we have a good legs, you need to attack. And Giro is like this, it's not Tour de France.
Oh, we've got big riders down. Sky Rider's on the floor as well. Mikel Landa's on the ground, he's not happy. And that is Geraint Thomas. That is Geraint Thomas, and I'm afraid that does not look good. The king of the Giro so far, to take the stage and the jersey. The count back to the rest now begins.
El plan era un poco pues intentar ganar con Nairo y luego pues sacar más que nada, más que a Nibali, sobre todo pues gente más especialista contra reloj, ¿no? Pero bueno, vimos que Dumoulin se defendió muy bien y tendremos que seguir contando con él muchos días.
There's crashes that happen in racing, that's a given, and that happens, but that crash shouldn't have happened in that way, which is really frustrating and has ended, well, it's definitely seriously dented the chances of myself and certainly Landa's chances for the overall. Since November, really been, well, even before that, been thinking about, I want to go for the Giro and, you know, target this race and be a leader and, just try and get the best result possible, and to lose that chance through no fault of any bike riders is really frustrating.
With 5 minutes lost to Quintana, Thomas's Giro challenge was over. The opportunity to salvage something from his time in Italy, however, wasn't, and he'd come close to an immediate bounce back in Stage 10's time trial through rolling Umbria.
This is going to be surely to take the lead, and look at this, he's going to be in the 51s. Geraint Thomas, what have you done? Oh, joy, 46.429, 51 seconds, and a huge cheer goes up at the line.
But at the top of the GC, a Dutch time trial machine was powering to the race win and the Maglia Rosa, and his name was Tom Dumoulin.
Tom Dumoulin is driving for home, he's driving into the lead here. There's Geraint Thomas's time, which was absolutely outstanding, but if you want outstanding, look no further. Tom Dumoulin takes the lead of this race. Who's going to take it back from him?
For Nairo Quintana, it was damage limitation, keeping his overall losses to 2 minutes and 23 seconds. With the peaks of the Alps and the Dolomites to come, the Colombian has more than one mountain to climb.
Tom has only done one Grand Tour for a GC, and that was the Vuelta in 2015. And now he's better prepared. And it's a question mark for us, for Tom, and for the competition to see how strong he is in the last week. And that is makes things very unpredictable. But I mean, still Nairo is the big favorite.
That's all for this week. Join us next time on inCycle. But until then, keep up to date with us across social media.